Describe how the FSP is impacted by FICA. The FIC Act imposes certain money laundering control measures on accountable institutions, such as the duty to identify and verify clients, record-keeping duties which were discussed in Outcome 46, reporting duties allowing access to information, and measures designed to promote compliance. Once again, the management function rests with a key individual, and therefore it is his or her responsibility to ensure the FSP or accountable institution has all the necessary policies, procedures, and systems in place to ensure compliance with all applicable legislation. Each of these sections are now dealt with in more detail. Prospective clients identify themselves by providing their names and surnames, ID numbers, contact information, and address. Section 21(1) of the FIC Act, however, requires that accountable institutions verify this information by obtaining proof of ID and residence for natural persons. An exemption is provided in respect of product suppliers where the primary accountable institution, for example the financial planner, may provide confirmation that identification and verification has taken place. Viewers who are representatives may have noticed this checkbox on many application forms. We have discussed the record-keeping requirements in Outcome 46, which brings us to the reporting duties and obligations of the FSP. The FIC Act requires that all business organizations and employees identify and report suspicious and unusual transactions. Examples of such transactions could include making lump sum investments into an endowment policy, which has a 5-year restriction period, and immediately surrendering the policy. A policyholder who stops regular debit orders and makes direct cash payments into the policy. An employment person using someone else's bank account for investments with no apparent relation to that person. An investor who has little financial means, investing relatively large sums of money. Failure to report such transactions, and where the court determines a person ought to have known or suspected such a transaction, could have significant consequences, including 15 years imprisonment or a fine up to 10 million rand. It is also important to note that the reporting party may not inform the client that the report has been made. Finally, Section 43(2) of the FIC Act requires accountable institutions to appoint a person who will be responsible in terms of compliance, such as the compliance officer. Furthermore, the FSP should provide adequate training to employees, which will ensure all concerned are aware of the internal rules applicable to them. A record of such training must be kept by the FSP. Section 42 of the FIC Act requires accountable institutions to formulate and implement internal rules concerning client identification and verification, as well as the steps to be taken in reporting suspicious transactions to a reporting officer, who in turn must report to the Financial Intelligence Center within 15 working days.